Just days into the new season, panic has already set in. Manchester United lost 2-0 at newly promoted Hull City. Nottingham Forest fell 1-0 at home to Leeds United. Villa had a 4-0 loss against the Seagulls. Tottenham were thrashed 3-0 at Brentford. With the window shutting on August 31st, expect frantic business at all clubs before the deadline hits. History shows the smartest business often happens in the market's final, most chaotic hours. Here are 8 signings that turned last-gasp panic into lasting history. Football fans, this is the deal you don't want to miss. Whether you're hunting for an iconic World Cup jersey or the colours of your favourite club, Goal90 Shop has the perfect pick for you. And right now, everything is a flat 15% off, with free shipping anywhere in the world. So don't wait. Hit the link in the description, head over to Goal90 Shop and grab your favourite jersey today. Dimitar Berbatov to Manchester United, September 2008. Manchester City had already agreed a fee with Tottenham for Berbatov and the move looked set. Sir Alex Ferguson reportedly met him personally at the airport to stop him boarding that flight to City instead. United swooped in and hijacked the deal for £30.75 million right on the closing whistle of the window, beating a package reportedly worth over £34 million that City had already put together. Berbatov repaid the faith almost instantly, scoring 47 goals across his first 3 seasons at Old Trafford and lifting 2 Premier League titles plus the Champions League runners-up medal in 2009. He capped his stay with the Golden Boot in 2010-11, an award he shared with Carlos Tevez after a memorable 5-goal haul against Blackburn. And that same season, he scored a hat-trick against fierce rivals Liverpool, the first United player to manage the feat against them in 64 years. Mesut Ozil to Arsenal, September 2013. Arsenal entered the market's final hours having spent nothing meaningful all summer, having already been embarrassed by an infamous £40 million plus £1 bid for Luis Suarez that Liverpool laughed off as a botched attempt to trigger a release clause. Then, out of nowhere, Ozil arrived from Real Madrid for a club record £42.4 million, discarded by Florentino Perez to the visible frustration of Cristiano Ronaldo. He went on to make 254 appearances for Arsenal, scoring 44 goals with a total of 19 assists in the 2015-16 season in the Premier League, ranking him among the highest single-season assist tallies in the competition's history. He helped the club lift 3 FA Cups and reach the 2019 Europa League final. It remains one of the most unlikely deadline day reversals in Premier League history, a club record fee sealed only hours after a farcical low-ball approach had been laughed out of Merseyside. Just months after signing, he lifted the World Cup with Germany in Brazil. Ozil became the fastest player in Premier League history to reach 50 assists by the time he left the league. Claude Makelele to Chelsea, August 2003. Roman Abramovich had just taken over at Stamford Bridge, and the spending that summer had already topped £150 million. But it was the final capture, completed less than 12 hours before the Champions League qualifying cut-off, that proved most transformative. Chelsea prized the 30-year-old defensive midfielder away from Real Madrid for roughly £16.6 million, a deal so contentious that his agent threatened to pull out over unpaid commission just hours before it closed. Makelele went on to redefine the holding midfield role entirely under Jose Mourinho, shielding Frank Lampard, Joe Cole and Arjen Robben while helping Chelsea win back-to-back English titles in 2004-2005 and 2005-2006, the club's first championship in exactly 50 years. His name even entered football's vocabulary. Pundits still describe a deep-lying, disruptive anchorman as playing the Makelele role. Internationally, he earned 71 caps for France and started the 2006 World Cup final against Italy, the closest he ever came to lifting a major trophy with his country. Cole Palmer to Chelsea, September 2023. Injuries had left Mauricio Pochettino short of attacking options, and with hours remaining before the window shut, Chelsea moved for Manchester City's 21-year-old academy graduate. The £42.5 million fee, comprising £40 million plus add-ons, seems steep for a player with just 2 Premier League starts to his name. It looks like a bargain now. Palmer scored 22 league goals in his debut campaign, netted 27 in all competitions across 48 appearances, and converted every one of his 9 penalties that season, overperforming his expected goals tally by nearly 4 goals. He signed a fresh contract at Stamford Bridge running until 2033, and a year on from his arrival, he came off the bench to equalise for England in the Euro 2024 final against Spain. Few panic buys have aged this well this fast. Scott McTominay to Napoli, August 2024. McTominay left Manchester United in the final hours of the market for a fee in the region of £25 million, a deal many United supporters barely registered given how peripheral he'd become at Old Trafford. What followed was one of the most remarkable individual campaigns in recent Serie A history. He scored 12 league goals, was voted Serie A's Player of the Year in his very first season, and picked up a Ballon d'Or nomination along the way before inspiring Napoli to their fourth Scudetto in a dramatic final day showdown with Inter Milan, netting an acrobatic volley in the very match that sealed it. His tally set a new record for a Scottish player in a single Serie A campaign, overtaking a mark Denis Law had held since 1962. Barcelona and several Premier League clubs have since made lucrative inquiries, but Napoli have knocked back every one of them, unwilling to part with the player Neapolitan fans now affectionately call McFratum, roughly translating to McBrother. Mikel Arteta to Arsenal, August 2011, and again December 2019. Arsenal had just lost both Cesc Fabregas and Samir Nasri that same summer and were still reeling from an 8-2 thrashing at Manchester United days earlier when, with an hour left before the window closed, they turned to Everton's playmaker in desperation. David Moyes rejected 2 earlier bids before Arteta forced the issue, handing in a transfer request and taking a pay cut to make it happen. Arsenal paid £10 million for a 29-year-old with 174 Premier League appearances already behind him. He went on to captain the club, lift 2 FA Cups and become one of its most respected figures. 8 years later, Arsenal needed him again, this time in the dugout. Unai Emery had just been sacked with the team 8th and sliding fast, morale draining from a dressing room in disarray. Arteta walked back through the door as manager, steadied the ship almost immediately and won the FA Cup within 7 months. What began as one frantic scramble in 2011 became the foundation for an entire era. This past May, Arteta guided Arsenal to their first Premier League title in 22 years, becoming the second youngest manager ever to lift the trophy. Wayne Rooney to Manchester United, August 2004. The move closed on August 31, 2004 for a fee of around £25.6 million, making the 18-year-old the most expensive teenager in world football at the time. He announced himself within weeks, scoring a hat-trick on his Champions League debut against Fenerbahce and finishing that first campaign as United's top league scorer, an instant impact that earned him the PFA Young Player of the Year award. Over 13 seasons at Old Trafford, Rooney won 5 Premier League titles, the Champions League and the League Cup, captained the side to FA Cup glory in 2016, and finished as high as 5th in Ballon d'Or voting in 2011, the closest an England international has come to the podium in years. He eventually broke Sir Bobby Charlton's long-standing goal-scoring record, retiring with 253 goals in 559 appearances, a tally still unmatched at the club today. Luis Suarez to Liverpool, January 2011. This was the calm decision buried inside the maddest single-day English football has ever witnessed. Fernando Torres handed in a transfer request the night before. Chelsea agreed a British record £50 million fee to sign him, and within hours Liverpool used that money to bring in Andy Carroll for £35 million and Luis Suarez from Ajax for £22.8 million. Suarez was the cheapest name involved that day, and by far the most important. He scored 82 goals in 133 Liverpool appearances, and in 2013-14 alone, he struck 31 goals in just 33 league games, claiming the Golden Boot and sharing the European Golden Shoe with Cristiano Ronaldo while dragging the club to the brink of the title. He capped that campaign by winning the PFA Player of the Year award, becoming the first non-European to do so. What looked like a panicked afterthought turned out to be the finest piece of business Liverpool did that entire decade. 8 deals born from pressure and split-second decisions over 2 decades. With United, Spurs, Villa, Forest and Liverpool already reeling after match week 1, this season's version of that story may already be writing itself. Which gamble paid off most? Drop your pick below, like, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.